Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Video has emerged of the moment vandals destroyed a controversial former Premier's statue in Hobart. Reporter Josh Duggan joins us live from Franklin Square. And Josh, what does the footage show?
Kim, social media has been ablaze with the footage of William Crowther's statue being cut down. In the video, a masked vigilante can be seen spraying the words "What goes around" onto the Franklin Square landmark before cutting Crowther's bronze likeness off at the ankles. The video was sent anonymously to an Instagram page called crime.earth with a statement declaring it unfathomable that, quote, racist butchers would continue to be celebrated. In the 19th century, Dr. Crowther notoriously stole a head from Tasmanian Aboriginal William Lanny, who died from illness and sent it overseas. The Hobart City Council had acted on mounting calls to remove the 135-year-old statue, a court attempt to block the move failing earlier this week. Tasmania Police say they are still investigating the incident and no charges have been laid. Kim?
Okay, thank you, Josh. The CEO of Vinnie's says she's determined to pursue plans for women's accommodation with the housing crisis still in the spotlight. It comes as the organisation launches its winter appeal, needing funds urgently to support vulnerable Tasmanians.
Irish was travelling home on an electric scooter when he was run off the road by a car, causing him serious brain trauma. From there, his life took a turn for the worse.
I was asked to move out, so I moved into my car for 9 weeks. Had a pretty horrible time living in a car, no showers, no facilities.
And after months of self-destruction, he made his way to Vinnie's Bethlehem House, a housing centre for men facing hardship.
Makes me feel safe, makes me feel cared for, makes me feel non-judged, because there's none of that here.
To raise money for Irish and others who need it most, Vinnie's has launched its annual winter appeal.
As we move into winter, it's often a time where those that have been sleeping rough in tents or in cars, they really start to identify that they need to find a more enduring solution to start turning their lives around.
Last week, the Hobart City Council rejected Vinnie's plans to build 38 social housing apartments in Argyle Street, a decision they will continue to fight.
And we'll take all the steps that we can to try to see such a significant development come to the benefit of those women who really need this in our community.
Housing insecurity also being felt by younger generations, with over 100 children and teenagers gathering at a homelessness forum in Launceston.
Approximately 39% of Tasmania's homeless population is under the age of 25 years.
A battle to ensure everyone has somewhere safe to call home.
I wake up in the morning with no stress. And sometimes I wake up in the morning and stress about not having any stress.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
30 truckloads of hay and feed are on the way from Victoria to help drought-hit farmers on King Island. The island has been experiencing one of its worst droughts in a century. Lions Club members say the convoy of kindness is a way to repay Tassie farmers for their generosity during Victoria's Black Summer bushfires. A Tasmanian farm offering the ultimate paddock-to-plate experience has gained another global gong. The state's agri-tourism movement gathering steam, with visitors looking for that something different.
It's farms like these seeing thousands of tourists flock to our state each year. Karinga Farm shining on the big stage, taking out a World Agri-Tourism Award.
Yeah, we feel really excited, really thrilled to be receiving this award.
Karinga offering farm stays for tourists, connecting visitors to the land and the food and produce that comes from it, highlighting the importance of paddock in paddock to plate.
The chance for a visitor to come here and see a sheep being shorn, eat the lamb from the farm, pull up an oyster and eat it is really rare nowadays.
Tasmania may be small on the map, but our profile is growing. Tassie farmers and producers leading the charge on our state's unique tourism industry.
Agritourism is one of Tasmania's key brand strength, and that we know that the visitors love to come down and connect with the producers and the makers.
I think as Tasmanians we know how incredible our produce is, but the world is really starting to notice.
Tourism ventures also give local farmers a chance to leverage other revenue streams and get more bang for their buck, helping to boost employment and local economies.
For farming in regional areas, this is really, really important. It keeps our Tasmanian families in those regional areas.
All while sharing their way of life. Rebecca Gaydenaris at 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanians are likely to pay more than first thought for their power, with TasNetworks proposing a shock price rise. From June, it wants to charge residents and small businesses 15% more for poles and wires, which makes up around a third of the total electricity bill. The national regulator has the final say. The government-owned business blaming inflation, cybersecurity expenses and insurance premiums for the rise, while also committing to cutting operating expenses. The first person incarcerated under Tasmania's anti-protest laws has been released from prison. Alicia served 3 months in Risdon for defending forests in the Styx Valley with the Bob Brown Foundation. He says the time behind bars hasn't changed his views.
People will continue to stand up, and jail time is not a deterrent either. I enjoyed a lot of support in there. My time in there was relatively peaceful.
You can take Tasmanians out of our forests, but you can't take our forests out of Tasmanians.
The group continuing to condemn logging efforts at coops across the state. A long way for a good cause. Tasmania's former Premier Peter Gutwin is gearing up for a mammoth 350-kilometre walk next month. Now, the Migrant Resource Centre Chair, Mr Gutwin, is planning to walk from Burnie to Glenorchy in just 7 days, aiming to raise vital funds for Tasmania's migrant and refugee communities.
Celebrate what migrants and refugees bring to the state. Let's talk about their positive contribution.
It's an important step because it will bring the communities together and it will help us build that stronger Tasmania that we all aspire for.
Tasmanian businesses and individuals are encouraged to get behind the cause and donate. Tasmanians have the worst teeth in the nation, with the highest number of decayed, missing and filled teeth per person, according to new data from the Australian Institute of Health and Wellbeing. There is hope for improvement though, with the Northern Territory judged the best, and that was after being ranked last just a decade ago. 2,500 athletes are set to speed through Hobart, with the 51st City to Casino fun run only a week away. Organisers of the 12-kilometre trek hoping to see a great finish.
We've got a new finish area out here at Rest Point this year, and we have to adjust the start line again out at My State Arena. So the winner of this year's race for the 12K will set a new record.
All types of runners, haven't we? We've got the professionals, the quick ones, we've got the fossils like myself, and then we've got the families and the kids that come along as well. So great stuff.
Participants will be lacing up their runners to raise money for a number of charities, including cystic fibrosis. Rebates are being offered to help farmers and graziers transition to mandatory sheep and goat electronic tags. Producers will be able to apply to the state government to receive $2 for each electronic ear tag and $4 per goat leg band. From next year, all sheep and goats born will need to be tagged when being moved off property. A major catch for Tasmania's fishing enthusiasts, the state government splashing $1 million for facilities across the state, following through with an election promise providing grants of up to $300,000.
And it's available for community organisations and local governments to apply for grants to assist with the recreational fishing sector.
I think there's a multitude of opportunity for recreational fishing organisations, local councils, local community groups to access the better fishing grants to make fishing better in their area.
It's hoped the cash boost will help make fishing more accessible. A gardening program getting seniors back into the backyard is calling for more volunteers to help it grow. Participants and their buddies touring Government House, gaining some tips and tricks to take to their own homes.
This special friendship bloomed after Gay, Nor and Yulia discovered their shared passion for gardening.
She's a good 20 years senior to me, and sometimes I need to haul her off a ladder or off a steep stony rise, thinking, well, I'm not allowed to do that, so you should probably get down, sweetie.
The pair met through the Still Gardening program, connecting volunteers with seniors who need a helping hand outside.
I have been part of this scheme for over 11 years, and I just look forward to the days when my garden help comes.
Our garden is designed for assisting people to stay at home and feel good about their garden, get them outdoors, get them active, but also for social connection.
Today, participants were given a rare chance to tour a garden a bit bigger than what they're usually used to, sharing stories and tips at Government House.
Lovely to chat with them. They're a lovely group of people who really appreciate coming to see our beautiful gardens, so it was wonderful to have the morning tea with them.
The tour coming ahead of National Volunteers Week, an important time for the Still Gardening group, who are calling on Hobart residents who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty.
We are always looking for new volunteers because our program runs due to the dedication of people who are volunteering in our community.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News. The Ravenswood Skate Park is looking a little safer and nicer after a landscaping upgrade. The community coming together to put the finishing touches on the planting this afternoon, thanks to a $15,000 federal government grant to improve safety.
Vehicles perhaps coming up into the space, whether you're doing, some tricks or skateboarding and you're poo shooting out into the street, so we've been really creative in the way that we've been able to address this sort of safety issue.
Being here planting today, I think it's fantastic to build on the work that's already been done here in Ravenswood.
A campaign by locals helping secure the funding.
It's a big night at Blunston with Jack Rewalt making his hotly anticipated TSL return with a Clarence Ruse. Lauderdale's been doing well to keep him subdued so far, barged out of a few contests in what was a low-scoring affair until a short time ago. With just a few minutes until quarter time, the Kangaroos are up 16-0. The Hurricanes' WBBL roster is starting to take shape, with young gun Hayley Silver-Holmes signing on for another 2 years. After making her Big Bash debut in 2018, aged just 15, the now 20-year-old has been in purple for 2 seasons, has only played 6 matches.
As much cricket as I have had, I have been injured in the middle of that, so it's been nice in the last 2 years to kind of get back on my feet and really start enjoying my cricket and making an impact where I can.
She's keen to see the Tigers' WNCL success translate across to the Big Bash next season. A shot at lifting the Women's Statewide Cup is on the line tomorrow, and it's the informed Devonport Strikers standing between South Hobart and their second straight Cup win. There's no doubt South's lethal goal conversion rate so far this season will be put to the test in the knockout semi.
Devonport are very systematic in how they play, so we just have to play around it and lots of quick touches and short passes, I think.
In the men's Lacca Seljuk Cup, 2 undefeated powerhouses, Glenorchy and Devonport, face off again after a 1-1 draw in the NPL last weekend.
I think it'll be an even bigger and better game than last week, and hopefully there's a bumper crowd there. I know that there's a healthy rivalry between the 2 teams now, and
the winner takes on either Riverside Olympic or the Kinborough Lions in the June 10 final.
Good evening. Hope you've had a great Friday. A cool one for Hobart though. 13 degrees today. Launceston 17. That was the state's warmest. Devonport 15 and Burnie 14 degrees. Flinders Island reached 16. King Island, Low Head and St Helens 15. Smithton and Friendly Beaches 14. Bushy Park 13. Strawn 12 and Lyawini 3 to 5. And that wasn't a time. A band of cloud passed through today, and from 9 till 4 the best fall was 10 millimetres. That was recorded at Warra after some decent falls overnight in the west. Now that cloud band is also brushing Victoria, with more cloud gathering over northern New South Wales and southern Queensland, convective cloud inland and over the Territory. Tomorrow, a high over the Bight extends a ridge over most of the country. Another cold front approaches our southwest, but it's well to the south of that high. South to southwesterly winds at 15 to 30 knots and to 35 knots over the south, with a 4.5 metre swell. Plenty to tell you about in the warning situation. We have a gale warning for waters between Tasman Island and Low Rocky Point, a strong wind warning for the southwest lakes and all remaining coastal waters apart from the central north coast. We also have a frost warning for the northwest, central North Midlands and Upper Derwent, and a warning to sheep graziers in the southeast, and a bushwalkers alert with snow to 600 metres. Saturday for Hobart, a top of of 12 and partly cloudy. 9 for Medina, frost in the morning, showers increasing later. 9 the top for Oatlands after a frosty start as well. 12 for Launceston, a partly cloudy day. 13 for Devonport, a frost for Liawini, -5 to a top of 5. Burnie tomorrow, a high of 13. Late showers for Strawn, 12. A shower or 2 for Marrawar, 4 overnight, 13 the maximum. And for the east coast, partly cloudy, 13 for St Helens and 12 for Swansea and Orford. Morning showers on Sunday, less likely over the north and east. Winds turning southwesterly, so cool again. Mainly fine on Monday after morning fog and frost. The chance of a shower in the west and far south. And a similar forecast for Tuesday after a fairly cold Monday night. Sunny and 29 in Perth tomorrow. A fine day for Adelaide, but just 17. Even cooler in Melbourne, but fine there. A showery day forecast for Sydney. A sunny 25 in Brisbane ahead of a late shower. Current conditions, a bit showery over Hobart, 7 degrees right now, 9 in Launceston and 7 in Devonport. Kim, have a great weekend.
And you too. I'll see you Monday. And that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everyone.